New York State Racing Commission Wager Rating Law, Section 102, provides that the New York State Gaming Commission shall consist of 7 members, appointed by the governor by and with the advice and consent of the Senate. 6 members having been confirmed by the New York State Senate affords the commission an ability to establish a quorum and undertake action. This present meeting of the commission is now called to order. Ms. Secretary, will you please call the roll?
John Crotty.
Here.
Mark Aaron. Peter Machete.
Here.
John Paklemba.
Here.
Barry Sample.
Here.
Todd Snyder.
Here.
Ms. Secretary, please have the record reflect that a quorum of qualified members are present, thus enabling the transaction of business. Also, please have the record reflect that bilateral audio and visual communications have been secured between the 3 meeting sites. Given the absence of Chairman Guerin, would the members like to designate a member for the purpose of presiding over today's meeting?
I'd like to propose Todd Snyder.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Commissioner Snyder?
The minutes from our last meeting, the May 26th meeting, have been provided in advance. I'd like to ask the members if those minutes reflect their thoughts and if there are any edits, corrections, or amendments.
I had 2 small edits, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
On the adjudications, I guess it would be 5, A and B.
Yes.
The commission, having considered this matter at a meeting conducted pursuant to the judicial or quasi-judicial proceedings exemption of New York Public Officers Law, Section 108.1, announced that it had, I believe the word agreed should be added, that it had agreed on a 5-0 vote to reject Mr. Lewis's request.
Just same on both A and B, yes?
Both A and B,
Yeah.
and then after the word had and B, add the word agreed.
I have it. Okay. Any other edits? Thank you, John. Any other edits or amendments? Barry, anything?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Pete, you good?
No.
Madam Secretary, at this time, let me ask you to please reflect that the minutes have been adopted as amended by Commissioner Paklemba's edit. Next up, I think, Rob, is a report from the Executive Director.
Yes, we have a long agenda today, so in the interest of brevity, I'm going to keep my remarks short. First, I want to begin. The second Let's Start the Conversation Problem Gambling Awareness event was held on June 17th at the Schenectady County Community College. The event was very well attended with representatives of Rivers Resort and Casino, Lago Resort and Casino, Capital District Off-Track Betting Corporation, and regional problem gambling providers from as far away as St. Lawrence County. The event was also very well covered in the media. The next event is scheduled for July 21st at the Dutchess County Community College in Poughkeepsie. I also want to briefly touch upon a couple of other previously discussed upcoming events. The LASIX Forum, which has been developed at the request of Commissioners Crotty and Machete, will be held on August 25th at the Empire State College in Saratoga Springs. We remain in the midst of developing the panels and have received some good advice from Cornell Veterinary School Dean Michael Kotlikoff and NYS President Rick Violet, among others. At present, the panels are likely to include one of academics, one with practicing veterinarians, and one with owners and trainers, and then another with industry leaders. Former Deputy Secretary for Gaming and Racing and noted racing law expert Bennett Liebman has graciously volunteered to provide introductory remarks setting the stage for how we arrived at present-day LASIX administration. Also, the Retired Racehorse event is scheduled for September 1st at the Fasig-Tipton Pavilion in Saratoga. Internally, we've held several meetings with interested parties and have tentatively set panel discussions that will include an overview of the available programs and best practices with national and New York-based horsemen's organizations, and an overview of what is occurring in other states such as Kentucky and California. Given the Commission's mission statement, the goal is to discuss what has been done regarding retired racehorses and what we, as interested parties, can do to help focus upon this important issue. Finally, responses to the request for applications to develop a commercial casino gambling facility in Zone 2, Region 5, or the Southern Tier, must be received by the board by 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time today. At present, a single application from Tioga Downs has been received. Commissioner?
Yes. Rob, I think that takes us to the rulemaking part of our meeting today. New York State Racing Parimutuel Wagering Breeding Law, Section 10419, authorizes the Commission to promulgate rules and regulations that it deems necessary to carry out its responsibilities. In that regard, the Commission will from time to time promulgate rules and rule amendments pursuant to the State Administrative Procedures Act. Today, we have 8 rulemaking items for consideration. Would you please outline the first item, Rob?
Certainly. At the April 27, 2015 meeting, the Commission proposed a rulemaking regarding superfecta wagering. The wager had been available in New York since March of 1998, when the Racing and Wagering Board allowed operators to offer wagers defined in the December 1996 version of the Association of Racing Commissioners International Model Rules, subject to certain conditions. Since then, however, the ARCI rule had been modified, and the board, now the Commission, permissions have not been changed. The rule proposed by the Commission would allow a racetrack operator to offer superfecta wagering without requesting special permission and to reflect the current ARCI model rule, which, for example, now permits coupled entries. One public comment was received during the comment period, which ended on June 27th. The comment from the New York Racing Association was in favor of adoption.
Commissioners, are there questions with respect to the adoption of the rule? Anybody?
No.
May I have a motion to adopt the rule permitting coupled entries with thoroughbred superfecta wagering?
I put forth a motion, we adopt.
A second, anybody? Do I hear a second?
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm sorry, the motion carries. Rob, would you outline the next item, please?
Certainly. Also at the April 27, 2015 meeting, the Commission proposed a rulemaking regarding amendments to coupled entries in thoroughbred races. The adoption of this rulemaking would amend the thoroughbred rules by allowing horses with common ownership or trainers to be uncoupled as a single betting interest in stakes races with a purse of $50,000 or more. The current rule allows such uncoupling only in races with a gross purse greater than $1 million. The proposed rule continues the discretion that stewards have regarding uncoupling. That is, they may disallow any in particular uncoupled entry if they determine that to be in the best interest of racing. One comment was received during the comment period as well, which ends today. The comment from New York Racing Association was in favor of adoption. In the unlikely event of a substantive comment being received before the close of business, staff will promptly inform each commissioner.
So subject to that reservation, is there any discussion or comment on the rulemaking? May I have a motion to adopt the rules?
So moved.
Second, anyone?
Second.
If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Commissioner Sample?
Aye.
There's no opposition, the motion carries. Rob, would you outline the next item, please?
Certainly. The next 3 items all regard commercial casino licensing regulations. Given the common subject matter, with your permission, I'd generally like to discuss these all together. First, this group of proposed regulations is the beginning of what is likely to be a monthly occurrence. In your materials today that I put out in front of you, there is a proposed table of contents identifying what is likely to be the entire corpus of commercial casino regulations. To analogize, the casino regulations are a 100-piece jigsaw puzzle. These are the first 3 pieces. In general, These proposed regulations are necessary to incrementally advance facility licensing. Without these, the Commission would be unable to award any facility license. From a practical level, should the Commission determine to propose these regulations today, they are likely to be submitted for publication in the next available state register, which is July 22nd. The publication commences the 45-day comment period, wherein the public has an opportunity to comment on the proposed rules. At the conclusion of this comment period, the Commission may, at a public meeting, assess the comments and determine whether to revise or adopt the proposal. The conclusion of the 45 days is September 5th, which is a Saturday. This causes the conclusion date to statutorily be shifted to the next business day, which is actually Tuesday, September 8th, due to the preceding Monday being Labor Day. It is important to note that the newly adopted rule would not become effective until the notice of adoption is published in the state register. Working off that September 8th date for the closing of public comment, we are most likely to be able to make the next available state register publication, which will be September 30th. Soon we anticipate the New York State Police will be providing the full background material for the corporate entities and principals of Lago, Montrain, and Rivers. While this rulemaking moves through its necessary legal processes, Commission staff will be taking the New York State Police investigative reports and assimilating other necessary historical and background materials into a comprehensive document, enabling a prompt licensing decision once rules are effective. In establishing the proposed rules before you, Commission staff has been guided by examination of the statute governing casino gambling in New York and have looked to the casino regulatory systems in all regional states. They have sought to develop these regulations on a best practices basis.
I think we have them in video.
Or not video. Well, yeah. Peter, are you there?
Yeah, nice to see you.
Good.
So individually, item 4C is the commercial gaming rules definitions section. As you may have surmised, this section provides definitions applicable to commercial gaming rules. This is not a static piece, but will grow with additional definitions as are necessary when provisions of regulations are added in forthcoming months. Item 4D is the commercial gambling entity licensing section. This section addresses gaming facility license application requirements, application forms, application fees, form of license, waiver of license requirements for certain passive investors, suitability determinations, license determination, award and duration of license, post-licensure conditions, and monitoring of project construction. You will note that several sections concerning applications address matters that have been contained in emergency rules. These emergency rules will expire and be replaced by these new regulations. Finally, item 4E is the commercial gaming vendor and employee licensing section. This section addresses general provisions, casino key employee licensing, gambling employee and non-gambling employee registration, and vendor licensing and registration.
So, Rob, can I just get some clarification? What we're going to do is we're going to vote on whether or not to put these out for public comment at this point.
That is correct.
Okay. So, unless there are other questions at this point, what I propose to do is to keep it clear for the commissioners. I'm going to call for consideration and a vote on each of the three proposed casino regulations individually. First,
I just have one question before we get to that.
Yes.
And Rob, in your presentation, you talked about the state police background check.
Correct.
And do we have a sense of when that might be completed?
We anticipate that to be completed any day now.
Okay. I'm sorry, Rob.
So first up is item 4C, which is the commercial gaming definitions rulemaking. Are there any questions or discussion with regard to that item? Hearing none, may I have a motion to send this item out for public comment?
So moved.
So moved.
Pete, I'll take that as a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Madam Secretary, that motion carries. Item 4D, the proposal of commercial gaming facility licensing rulemaking. Is there any discussion on that item? If not, may I have a motion to send that one out for public comment? Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Thank you, Barry. There's no further discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Madam Secretary, 4D carries. Item 4E is commercial gaming employee and vendor licensing and rulemaking. Is there any discussion? May I have a motion to send that one out for public comment?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
There's no further discussion. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Secretary, 4E carries. Rob, can we move on to the next item?
Sure. As you may recall, the Gaming Facility Location Board's first request for applications to develop and operate a gaming facility in New York State contained a passage requiring applicants to address how they plan to provide meaningful opportunity for state-certified minority and women-owned business enterprise to participate in the development, construction, and operation of the gaming industry. This topic was so significant to the Gaming Facility Location Board that at the December 17th award meeting, members concluded their announcement by specifically noting that the legislature had required applicants for a gaming license demonstrate with great detail workforce enhancement factors which included minority and women-owned business enterprise utilization. The board stated that they were very careful in requiring applicants to identify their plans relative to such items as equal employment opportunities, and strongly recommended that the commission implement conditions to licensure requiring that the 3 successful applicants match or exceed the standards set forward by Governor Andrew Cuomo. Accordingly, staff determined that the first non-licensing regulation proposed should address MWBE requirements. Item 4F regards regulations for such and for workforce enhancement. The proposed rules address establishment and approval of MWBE utilization plans, reporting, failure to attain MWBE goals, waiver, establishment and approval of workforce diversity plans, reporting and compliance monitoring, and failure to attain workforce diversity goals.
Commissioners, are there any questions regarding the proposed minority and women-owned business enterprise requirement rulemaking? If not, may I have a motion to approve?
I recommend.
May I have a second, please?
Sure. Second.
Is there any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition?
Aye.
I believe the motion carries. Madam Secretary, Rob, would you please call the next item?
As item 4G for commission consideration is proposed rulemaking to allow for necessary regulatory changes to be effective to prevent operational cessation of Powerball. New York participates as a member of the Multi-State Lottery Association, which administers the Powerball lottery game. Muscle has resolved to modify the Powerball game matrix, which sets forth win probabilities and prizes. The proposed rule is intended to increase the odds of winning any prize while increasing the odds to win the jackpot. This would be accomplished by increasing the size of the first set of numbers from which a player chooses from 59 to 69, while decreasing the size of the second set of numbers from 35 to 26. The percentage amount of a prize pool allocated to each prize level would also change. Finally, the set prize amount for the third level prize would increase from $10,000 to $50,000. The new matrix for Powerball is scheduled for launch nationwide on October 4th for the October 7th drawing. Commission staff has reviewed the multi-state game changes and has determined the proposed rules are acceptable. Without this rule change, the division would need to remove the game from its portfolio of offerings.
Commissioners, are there any questions with regard to this proposed rulemaking? May I have a motion to propose the Powerball rule amendments?
Sure.
A second?
So moved.
Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition?
Aye.
That motion carries. Rob, can we go to the next item, please?
Certainly, as item 4H, for commission consideration is a proposed regulation regarding video lottery gaming capital award program. As you may be aware, New York tax law section 1612B12H provides a capital awards program which is funded from video lottery revenue. The law provides that a video lottery agent, quote, choosing to divest the capital improvement towards which the award was applied prior to the full depreciation of the capital improvement in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, shall reimburse the state in amounts equal to the total of any such awards. Several video lottery gaming agents have requested guidance on the Commission's interpretation of divestment of a video gaming capital award. The proposed rule addresses these concerns. In short, if the divestment is taken with the intent to increase patronage at a video lottery gaming agent's facility and increase the amount of revenue generated to support state education programs, or occurred in a transfer of assets to an affiliate and remain in service of the video lottery program, reimbursement would not be required. This proposal would also require notice of when a capital asset is removed from service, establish a schedule for reimbursement, require an annual capital improvement plan, and make several technical changes.
Are there any questions with regard to the proposed video lottery terminal capital award divestiture rulemaking?
Has this come up? Is it an issue?
This is actually the first time that it has come up in 10 years, the video lottery program.
What happened? Someone left early or?
Now, there's been some, in short measure, I think the main thing is they constructed something that now they want to change to have some additional capital investment. And the question was, this item that they constructed, do they have to pay for it back when they're building something that will actually benefit the program itself? So it was an item of first consideration that we thought was ripe for rulemaking.
So prior to now, divestment has not occurred.
Correct.
Do you know what they depreciated over? It's short term, right?
I don't know the answer to that.
It's the interior, right? More than 7.5 years.
Wouldn't it depend on the asset?
Depend on the asset, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
What category it falls in?
Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Okay.
Sure.
May I have a motion?
Motion.
May I have a second on the rulemaking? A second to approve the rulemaking?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Madam Secretary, that motion carries. Rob, would you call the next item, which I believe is the adjudications?
Yes.
Actually, it's on me, isn't it? I think it is. You got
I
it?
can
You
outline
can do
it.
it, go ahead. Thank you.
On March 3rd, 2015, the Bureau of Licensing declined to license John P. Corrieri as an authorized agent in thoroughbred racing. The denial was based on a conclusion that his experience, character, and general fitness are such that his participation in racing or related activities would be inconsistent with the public interest, convenience, or necessity, or with best interest of racing generally. Specifically, Mr. Corrieri failed to disclose criminal history on his license application. After Mr. Corrieri appealed, a hearing was conducted on May 18th. The hearing officer's report and recommendation were delivered to the Commission Secretary on June 2nd. The hearing officer recommended that the license denial be upheld. At a meeting conducted pursuant to the judicial or quasi-judicial proceedings exemption of the New York Public Officers Law, Section 108.1, the Commission considered this matter.
The commission did consider this matter and voted 5-0 to sustain the hearing officer's report and recommendation, with one clarification, that the vote to sustain was not a vote in support of various statements in the hearing officer's report that purported to predetermine the outcome of a subsequent application for licensure, if any. Does that
Well
capture
said.
it?
Well
Yes?
said.
Well done.
Okay. The next item, Rob, please.
On March 3rd, 2015, the Bureau of Licensing declined to issue a license to Samuel W. Williams as a totalizator employee. The denial was based on a conclusion that his experience, character, and general fitness are such that his participation in racing or related activities would be inconsistent with the public interest, convenience, or necessity, or with the best interest of racing generally. Specifically, Mr. Williams had failed to disclose criminal history on his license application. After Mr. Williams appealed, a hearing was conducted on May 18th. The hearing officer's report and recommendations were delivered to the Commission Secretary on June 5th. The hearing officer recommended that the license denial be upheld. At a meeting conducted pursuant to the judicial or quasi-judicial proceedings exemption of New York Public Officers Law, Section 108.1, the Commission considered this matter.
Rob, we did consider this matter as well and came to a similar conclusion by a vote of 5-0 to sustain the hearing officer's report and recommendations with a similar clarification that statements speculating on the outcome of a subsequent application for licensure are not being endorsed by our vote at this time.
So noted.
I think that is the last adjudication. Is there any new business that any commissioner would like to bring up? Hearing none, are there any old business matters that we should deliberate? I think we need to schedule a next hearing then, a next commission meeting. I think that would bring us to a July meeting, late July. I don't know what everyone's calendar would propose. Our usual schedule would suggest July 27th. My suggestion is that we all take that under advisement and get back to Rob with our availability on the schedule. Rob, would that be all right with you?
That's fine.
Okay, that's all I
Are we
have on.
still thinking of going to Saratoga at some point?
Yes, I think we're planning on an August meeting in Saratoga.
Okay.
August 24th, if we're consistent with the fourth Monday?
Yeah.
Or we're doing that on Tuesday? I don't know.
No, we're doing the meeting on Monday, the 24th, and then the LASIX form on the
Okay.
25th.
If you didn't hear that, it's
I did.
August 24th for the commission meeting, August 25th for the LASIX.
Okay.
Okay, I think that concludes the business on today's published agenda. Do any of the commissioners have other items that they'd like to present for consideration?
I think we should congratulate Naira on what was a great day.
It was a great day.
A couple of us were out there,
Yeah.
and
Tremendous day.
tremendous day. Anything that was criticized last year
Was addressed.
was addressed more than adequately, but, I mean, my perspective was just my own, but seemed like everything went as well as they could have hoped to have it go. And, along with the finish of the race, right?
Absolutely. We should, maybe we should ask Rob to convey our congratulations.
I think so.
I will do that.
Peter was out there, and John was out there as well. I think good time was had by all, 90,000 plus
Probably one of
people.
the best events I've ever attended.
I think that's right. I agree with that, actually.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Commissioner Parati. If there are no other matters, this meeting of the New York State Gaming Commission is adjourned.